Have you ever wondered how fitness coaches achieve the dream body and eat the foods they enjoy? It just sounds impossible, doesn't it? In this video, I'm going to be talking to Cori Lefkowith about how she achieved her dream body and how she works with her clients to do just the same and eat the foods they enjoy. Hello fam, and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal, and this channel is all about helping you if you're a woman over 40 or like me over 50 get in fantastic shape. And I've been watching the channel Redefining Strength with Cori Lefkowith for a number of years now, and I'm a big fan of hers. Cori's 35 years old. She's a fitness coach, but she works with people of all ages, and she actually told me she struggled with her own physical shape when she first started out.
I had very thin arms and legs, but I tended to gain weight around my middle, and no matter how much I would diet, I could get skinny, but I could never really change my body composition. So I think in my own desire to be able to help others who might have the same struggles, that also made me pursue again a problem to figure out a solution, and led to all the things I teach now. You know, it's been great to see more and more people really pursuing whatever they want in terms of their physical health and fitness to age well, to age not only gracefully, but be kind of like a badass, for lack of a better way of describing it, even as they get older.
Yeah, you definitely are a badass. So how old are you, may I ask?
That is a question I actually get a lot. And it's always an interesting question. And I'm 35. I've honestly found now that I have people emailing me that are 25 telling me they feel old, and people at 70 telling me that they don't feel a day over 20, right? I think so much of it too is like we base it on age. We've been told by like mainstream media, oh, at this age, don't do this or this. And it's one of these things that you always have to meet your body where it's at. And I've had, like athletes come to me who have like destroyed their bodies, had improper dieting practices because of their training, all these different things that are old at 25. And I have people who have taken care of themselves, always trained, sort of followed my philosophy of use it or lose it, who are 70, who I'm like, you're doing burpees better than this 25-year-old could hope to in the next 10 years. It's one of these things that, yes, I think our body changes, but so much of it we don't recognize is the lifestyle changes we've had, right? We're not as active, especially as we get older. We're not chasing after our kids, right? Or we're not running around like we used to when we were younger. We're maybe not playing the sports. We've sat at a desk for longer. We've had some of the improper dieting practices for longer. We got away with not warming up when we maybe shouldn't have, right? And so I think so often we don't account for all the lifestyle factors that can make us old at any age if we don't take care of ourselves or recognize what we might need to do to change to age well, right?
I'm one of these people. I don't let age hold me back. And I don't think anybody else should let age. It's not about your age, it's about your ability, isn't it? And it's actually never too late to learn either, to sort of actually start. And there are people that are quite well known that do this. They start in their 60s or their 70s, whatever it is, don't they? They start on a fitness journey. It's never too late. So I'd love to know a little bit more about your ethos, because you mentioned body composition, which I absolutely love that. That's kind of why I love your channel.
For me, it's about being functionally strong. And then the consequences of that, which often are improved body composition. I am very much about muscle. I come from a heavy lifting background since graduating from college. Like I was into powerlifting. I wanted to lift heavy. The more weight I could beast mode out, the better. I realized that that's not necessarily everybody's intention to pick up heavy stuff off the ground and be a meathead. But I do think there is something to that lifting and that functional strength. And I think especially for women, often it is taught to lose weight, to be smaller, right? And so we can fear the muscle and fear getting bulky, but I'm trying to really change that and help people realize that A, muscle will help you actually stay leaner because it's metabolically costly, but B, it's actually what will help you move well until your final day on this planet, whether or not you want to lift 300 pounds or just be able to chase after your grandkids, right?
Having a better improved body composition is going to make you, it's not going to just make you look better, it's going to make you feel better. Do you think that anybody can do strength training then, Cori?
I do. And I believe that strength training doesn't have to mean just lifting heavy weights. So I do think we sometimes fear heavy weights a little too much. And everything is always about meeting ourselves where we're at currently. So I would not recommend if someone's running and has never weightlifted before, they go and try and deadlift 300 pounds. But through those new challenges, whether or not it's bodyweight training or lifting weights, we're strengthening that mind-body connection to be able to react more quickly so we can avoid falls, so that we can, catch a falling kid off the monkey bars or do whatever, right? We're improving that mind-body connection so that we're able to move well till our final day on this planet. So yes, I believe that not only can everybody strength train, but everybody should, whether it's starting with body weight, squatting down to a bench, or squatting with a barbell on their back. There is not one way to lunge. Maybe front lunges right now you can't control and they are overloading your knees because your quads aren't strong enough or you can't keep that vertical shin angle and control the movement. Maybe you start with static split squats or a reverse lunge, right? There's ways to build up the movement patterns, but I like to look at it as if we avoid movements, we don't train them for everyday life. And then we're going to get injured. So the more we can learn how to control the movements we once avoided, the better off we're going to be.
I love that because I get so many people ask this, particularly about the knees. I'm sure you're the same.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Squats hurt my knees. Lunges hurt my knees. No, your other movement patterns and the overload hurt your knees. If you learn to control these, you'll actually have less knee pain, but you do have to modify to start, sometimes to build up.
Absolutely. And you can do it without weight, can't you, to start off with, so that you get the movement nailed first before you start adding weight. But I think people sometimes fear things because they're in pain, aren't they?
But the more you can learn how to control those things, like the less pain you will really have and the stronger you're going to be. And part of like creating that resistance or that progression in your workouts to build lean muscle isn't just adding weights. Some of it's changing the range of motion, changing the platform instability. Some of it's, adding in different tempos, right? Again, if you have knee pain with squatting, a full squat or a barbell squat might not be right for you ever, or at least to start, but squatting to a bench or using a mini band to make sure you're activating your glutes, or doing no active knee flexion with a wall sit are all great ways to build up.
So I want to ask you about nutrition, because I love what you talk about on your YouTube channel with nutrition.
Nutrition is a very funny journey for me. When I first met my now husband, he was doing, I think it was maybe like the abs diet, but it was a diet. And I won't say diet because it was just about eating healthier foods overall. And I was in, college and training a bazillion hours a day and eating my burritos and my chocolate covered pretzels and all these not so healthy foods, which catch up with you when you're not training that much after college and you gain weight, which was part of my journey. But I told him, I was like, I could never be on a diet. I just want to eat what I want whenever I want. Okay. Young person ego, right? But when I graduated and I started to gain weight because I wasn't training that long, I realized, okay, can't do this anymore. So I started to watch my portions a little bit more. And so finally I embraced tracking macros, which feels very overwhelming. It feels like math. It feels like all these different things, right? It is kind of a game of Tetris to begin with. I won't lie to you, but that can be fun. But it was one of these things that I started tracking what I was eating. And as I began to really learn the breakdown of my foods, because I wasn't fully aware of what had protein, carbs, and fat, it can be very eye-opening, like what the makeup of our food actually is and what we're actually consuming. Because you even sometimes realize, hey, I'm under fueling for all the activity I'm doing.
Macros are the way to go. And actually, would you say that it's not that difficult anymore? Like MyFitnessPal and other tracking devices, other tracking apps?
One of my favorite lines is actually one of my clients who was starting her weight loss journey, and someone else was like, oh, I can't believe you track. I eat intuitively. And this person was maintaining their weight. And she goes, well, if I ate intuitively, I would be eating the whole pint of Ben & Jerry's right now, right? Because that's what I've always done. And so it is something that we want to get to the point of. We want to learn what our actual hunger cues are. And by tracking, we can understand, am I eating out of boredom? How does this food make me feel? So I think tracking is one of these things that we use it as a tool to understand our body, to work towards any goal. And so I won't track every single day for the rest of my life. Like I have days where I don't, but I also understand when potentially I'm not seeing the results I want, to go back to tracking to say, okay, what portions are getting distorted? And that peanut butter that I think is 1 tablespoon has become like 6 because I just want more of it, right? It is very hard to start. And the reason I say that is not because it's actually a hard task to do, but because it's a mental change from what we've always done. So I like to have people track what they're currently doing. And then we start with the easiest swaps first, because I know on my personal journey, I would always cut out dessert first. I am a dessert person. I want my dessert at the end of the night. Yes. Do I logically know I could not have dessert and survive? Yes, I could live without having dessert for a night, but I instantly want it. I instantly feel restricted. So for me, working in some dessert, and sometimes that varies on what it is very key. And that has helped with my sustainability, because I think it's realizing even what's non-negotiable sort of in your life, or what your priorities are, even if they're silly things like dessert, right? But it's working those things in first and then adapting the rest of your lifestyle. And the more you do that, the less resistance to the change you'll actually have, which will make the change easier.
There's a massive sort of connection with health as well, which we haven't talked about, have we? Which you could sort of do a whole video on that, couldn't you? And I mean, you look absolutely amazing. And I know that in the USA, there's a real problem, isn't there, with people and obesity and health concerns. And the lifestyle that you're promoting, Cori, it's not just about aesthetics, is it?
Aesthetics are kind of the nice consequence, I think, of dialing in your nutrition. But I think we also have an issue with how we talk about a healthy diet a lot of times as fitness professionals. And so I noticed this because I fell victim to it myself, where at the beginning I was like, clean foods, whole natural foods, rah, rah, rah. You're bad if you eat anything that's not clean, whole natural foods. Like I did that to myself, and I wondered why I couldn't stick with anything. I'm like, because I'm demonizing something that's sort of part of our culture and part of our lifestyle now. And the more I embrace that we all are going to have our own versions of what a healthy lifestyle is, the more I found my personal balance. And the thing is, you can include those other foods you love. Like I love ice cream. I'm going to put that in. I love craft cocktails and making them. I'm going to put that in. But the more I actually started embracing that, the healthier I ultimately ate over the course of the year, and the more balanced. Because I think a lot of times we get into this idea of perfection, right? But then we do this sprint for 2 weeks where we do this perfect diet with only whole natural foods, cutting out everything else. But then 80% of the year, we're not eating well. Versus if we found a little bit more balance, we're good enough with stuff. Over the course of the year, if you actually broke it down, you probably ate a lot more quality fuel, a lot more quality foods, a lot more whole natural foods, and even didn't feel restricted in any way. So didn't necessarily crave or eat extra of the things that, were bad. And so I think it is like, as we're talking to our clients, as we're talking to each other, less demonization of foods that are not ideal, and more accepting that this is part of the lifestyle balance, so we can truly strike a balance and overall improve our health. Because the better we eat, the more we're going to want to move, right? The more we move, the better we're going to want to eat, the better we're going to sleep. And all these different things relate back to the stressors we're putting on ourselves. And I really do think that health comes back to stress. Not sleeping enough, your body's stressed, right? It's going to have a stress response to it. Even overtraining, your body's going to have a stress response. Underfueling, even restricting foods and then having that mental restriction, or eating too many unhealthy foods, right? These are all stressors on our body. And so it's finding that balance that allows us to live overall a less stressed life, that I think is so, so key.
You're a coach, aren't you? And do you want to just let us know what kind of projects you've got going on and how people can sort of work with you if they want to work with you?
Yeah. So I have redefiningstrength.com, and then Redefining Strength everywhere. If you want to message me on social media, I'm one chatty Kathy. If you can't tell from that, I like to talk about all things health and wellness. So message me anytime for help. Right now, I'm actually also working on what I call the strong goals blueprint, because I actually don't like SMART goals, which is a whole other subject. But I really think it's key that when we're setting goals, we set action plans and we really understand why we want something. Because if we don't have a strong why, if we don't have those action steps in place, we're not going to actually move forward. So as people are going into the new year, make sure that you're actually setting those goals with a clear plan in place.
And so, Pete, that's something you're working sort of towards, ready for the new year.
I want us all to go in motivated and ready to really rock those results.
Do you know what? I think that's great to do it before you get to the new year.
Especially through the holidays. We want to dig ourselves a hole.
Yeah.
Let's avoid the hole.
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking about the holidays because they are coming up. What do you think people can do then to mitigate the holidays?
Plan ahead. Don't plan to diet on the holidays. Don't freak out about the holiday day, whether or not it's Thanksgiving that you enjoy, Christmas dinner with family, whatever it is, Christmas brunch. Don't worry about it on those days. The more you stress on those days, the more you sabotage the other 300 some odd days of the year that you could actually be consistent. So instead say, hey, these are important to me to have the flexibility to do what I want, not feel like that person on a diet. If you are looking to lose weight, I'm just going to enjoy, but then plan around. Really, it's not those days. It's the fact that we go, oh, well, New Year's is around the corner now. I had the Christmas dinner. I ate maybe a little bit more than I planned. I feel guilty. And then we sabotage the entire week in between. Instead, realize you don't have to feel guilty about anything. You know, even if you ate more than you planned, it's like you get a flat tire, right? You pull over to the side, you fix it. You don't go slash the other three. And so we just want to move forward. So if you have that event, even if you ended up with food baby, move forward the next day, right? But stay on track around and really plan ahead around those.
Do you enjoy these collaborations that I do with other YouTubers like Cori from Redefining Strength? Check out my other videos. I've done lives with Reg Edited and Angela Michelle, and I've also done a YouTube video with Paul Revelia, so do check those out. And if you'd like more collabs like this, do let me know in the comments section, and let me know if there's someone specifically you'd love me to get onto this channel.